It's the New OGs. The New OGs is a State Madison Entertainment production and is brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, you can raise the value of your home, and you can do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is a Black-owned SunPower dealer, an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience, and for the end of 2020, they're also giving a $1,000 cash rebate to anyone who goes solar. That is out the window because the year is over. They even have a referral program, though, that'll pay out as much as $500 per referral. So head over to www.go. Yes, sir. Yeah. Welcome to 2021. Here it is.
You mean to tell me
This is what I mean to tell you.
that they can lower their electric bill,
The bill will get lower. Got it.
help save the environment,
It can help save the environment.
get $1,000 cash just for doing it,
Yep.
and get another $500 if they know somebody that
If they know somebody, $500. Yep.
Man, that's better than 19 days before this motherfucker can get prosecuted. I'm excited.
Well, if you're down
excited.
to see motherfuckers get prosecuted, head over to www.gosolarmasters.com. Get in contact for a free consultation. Order it for someone you know.
Oh my God.
We are also brought to you by People of Comedy.
Yeah, baby.
That's a network that we're on right now. Please get to People of Comedy. James Webb ran down a list of some of the different podcasts that are on that show the other day, and his kind of year-end wrap-up. It is just like the stuff they're putting together, the stuff that, you know, People of Comedy and also Put 'em Over Productions is doing in regards to, you know, the New Year's show they just did at Zany's. You know, Zany's isn't paying for us for the spot, but they did a New Year's show at Zany's last night that was just super baller. You know, great comics there. People were willing to pay to watch comedy in the way that they had it set up in a safe way. And it worked out. Sounds like it worked out for everybody, right, James?
Oh yeah, I'm super proud of everyone there. Proud of my team. Shout out Manny Rodriguez and Adam Deese, who ran the cameras with me last night. And then Calvin Evans put together a fantastic lineup. That, I mean, we rang in the New Year right last night, and everyone killed it, and everyone was safe. Everyone had a good time. And there were no hiccups too. I was so nervous this whole time because it's the first time we've ever done anything of this magnitude. And we had something like 400 peak viewers live. And those are all paid tickets too. Like people are hungry for comedy still. And it's cool that we're able to kind of serve that need still in this crazy new environment that we've found ourselves in. And hopefully stuff like this will continue on into the new year and improve as the new year goes on. So
I want to shout out Michael Isaacs and Calvin Evans,
yeah.
man. Calvin Evans, obviously he got a Showtime special, no, a Stars, I think, special earlier or at the end of last year in October. It was Epics, yeah. Excuse me, Epics. He had a special on that. He's been doing some really cool. He's done some acting stuff in a lot of Chicago productions, but Calvin Evans and Michael Isaacs have a program called, I think it's called Make It in Chicago, Mihai C or stuff like that, and it's super duper dope. They're kind of on the same thing that we on about trying to promote Chicago. They make it happen in Chicago and not having to make it happen someplace else. So see them doing big things. I'm real. And plus, Michael Isaac gave me my first acting gig. So big shout out to those cats.
So you own that, heads up. No, I think I agree, man. Just to, you know, these are the things. It's funny because you'll see Donald Glover now, and you go, okay, well, he did Atlanta and he was on Community, but you don't know about all the little small things that he was doing before that.
The mystery team.
The mystery team, where motherfuckers weren't paying attention to what he was up to, except unless you were one of the people that were watching that shit on the internet back then, right? Like, unless you're watching that shit back then, you didn't know what was going on. And, you know, nights like last night for you guys and the podcasts that you have on the network and stuff like that is what keeps things. Those are the things that years from now, when you start tracing down somebody's history, like, wow, how did this motherfucker get to here? You'll look at that and be like, oh, right, that goes all the way back to this. Or, you know, you see coaches in sports leagues, you know, and you look at a guy in the NFL, you're like, how this guy becoming the coach? He's an old pasty white dude. You're like, oh, he was an assistant for this dude who was under this head coach who won all these titles. Mm-hmm. He just is down the tree a little bit. And that's what you start to see come out of Chicago. And I think you're seeing that start to happen here, which is super cool. It's super cool.
Big up Chicago comedy. Much love.
Hell
yeah.
We finna blow more shit up in 2021 like we've been doing. Say more the same, motherfuckers. Y'all thought we were gonna take you off because of COVID? Nah, baby. Man, more the same and more better. More better.
Yeah.
Now, on that note, I just want to put in one quick thought. I tend to be long-winded and I'm fairly high, so it's gonna be even worse. I'm so very proud to be affiliated with this, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because again, y'all know I'm new to knowing about who I am. Shit, I've been fucking around, mopping and shit when I should have been eating caviar with the crackers. You know what I'm saying? And I've been fucking this up really badly. But the thing is, what I done figured out is everything I do to help other people wind up helping me, and it's been that way all my life, right? So when I found out, I looked around, I'm like, shit, I got almost 300,000 followers on TikTok alone, and it's starting to make my other social media grow also. And I don't really do much with social media, but they just still hanging around waiting for me to say something. So every goddamn time I get a chance, I say to them something about the People of Comedy Network, because whatever I can do to push this shit just a little bit further, I just want to be a part of the greatness that I see before me. And I thank you for the opportunity.
That's good shit, man.
Yeah,
that's
good
shit.
That's some OG shit right there.
Right? See, that's what OGs do, right? A real OG doesn't just get on their own shit and leave everybody behind. Here's the thing: is like the idea of this podcast was the core concept is the idea that as a generation that is now starting to hit into the older ranges of life, it is actually more vital to be paying attention to what the young people are trying to talk to you about than paying attention to what these people who aren't even going to be here in 10 years are trying to tell you is how it's supposed to be. Because how it's supposed to be is how the people who are about to have it are going to make it.
Absolutely.
And what you feed those people and how you pay attention to those people is reflected in how they feel about you later on. Right? Like, do you think young people give a fuck about maintaining old people's social security when the people who are about to get it shit on them people all these years? Like, it's hard to get people to buy in for you if you don't buy into people, if you don't embrace people who don't think the same way. If you're younger than me, you're not supposed to think about life the same way I do. That's not and I'm supposed to recognize that and understand and respect it, not try and turn you into feeling the way that I feel about it.
I agree with you about that, but also keep in mind there are certain things that due to more vocational applications as opposed to life criteria or whatever your personal philosophy is. And by that I mean you don't want to get too quick to count on all the shit around you, all the things that function around you always functioning.
Right.
So should they not function, then you need to know how to make cornbread.
Well, there's a difference between teaching people about things and telling people they have to do it the way you do it, right?
Right, yeah. But I'm saying the best way to get the shit is from them nasty old motherfuckers that teach you like shit, you know what I'm saying? But they do give you shit that's worth having. That's
yeah.
Because even the new shit is usually based off some old shit too.
Of course,
you know what I'm saying? The new shit is a new flavor, but the recipe damn near the same. You just added lemon.
Speaking of going from old shit to new shit, we have turned the clock over. It is officially January 1st of 2021. I know a lot of people weren't sure that once it hit midnight, it was actually going to be a new year. Some people thought it was going to be December 32nd.
Dude, I saw a video that it went 23 hours and 59 minutes, and then when it hit 60, it just went to 23:60.
Yeah, it just kept going.
Going.
We are. I mean, I know that it was a weird year because the overarching story of the year was not good. It was horrible in so many ways. And I think we lose the fact that there are a lot of years that are just horrible for people, whether you're in a pandemic or not, right? Like I've had years without a pandemic that I thought were way worse than how this year actually was for me specifically. But for the world, it was not an awesome year. But I just want to know from you guys, like, what were some of your, be it personal or public lows that you saw for the year, whether you experienced a low that hit you or whether there was a universal low that you saw that like took you differently than normal. Like, Rob, what was a couple of things for you that like moved you that way?
When I saw nobody gave a fuck about kids being in cages. When I mean, like, we should have been in the streets with torches and pitchforks. Like, we were going after, like, not just, I get all the, yes, we don't want any violence and all this other shit. I'm okay. I get that. Although when I was a young dude, I was down. Like, fuck it. If y'all want to do this, we can do it. But I'm saying, like, as an older dude, I see the value in trying to do it peacefully. However, I don't like the timeline that peace is taking. Like, 400 fucking years is too goddamn long to be getting shit on. You know what I'm saying? And so it hurt my heart to see that didn't nobody give enough of a fuck about these people, however many of them they are, whose lives that our country has ruined.
Yeah. Anything else that was a low for you during the year? Any personal lows? Anything that
It all of my lows, not being able to go anywhere makes me really unhappy. Especially when I feel like we would have so much better a time because it'd be so many more of us.
We're all stand-ups, right? Like, we're all stand-ups. We're all usually out on the road.
Yep. And so that bothered me quite a bit. But I just, it's just the idea of someone thinking that they could take things from you that should never be taken. That just bothers me, and I can't get over it.
Yeah. XO, what about you, man? What was something that was
I have probably
surprisingly low?
3 lows that I would probably focus on were stages, not hidden stages. And that hurt. And this is going to sound real selfish, but I'm being honest. Is 2021 started off with maximum honesty. My style of stand-up, the shit that I talk about on stage, was in the streets protesting all summer. Like, that's the shit. I make the shit funny, but that's the shit I'm talking about already anyway. And so, like, if I could have been in clubs, although there were clubs open and stuff, but I wasn't going out to the motherfuckers. I was trying to keep people alive. But if I could have been on stage in a regular environment and regular audiences, I think that I would have had a really great audience. So I was like, the whole time all this shit was going on, I'm like, God damn it, Dave Chappelle ain't the only one that got some shit to say about this. So that shit was killing me. I lost quite a few people close to me, remarkably, none to COVID. Just life, man. Several car accidents took people that I knew and that I cared about, and some disease and some other shit, and so that it was a rough year for that. Like, it felt like more than normal, but I don't know if that was just because it was 2021 and we kept thinking just everything was fucked up. But it felt like a heavier year as far as loss of relatives and friends.
What's tough is when you there's already shit. You know what I mean? Like, you already got a weight on your shoulder, and then someone's like, "Here's another 5 pounds."
Yeah. I think like, if I talk, well, we'll talk a little bit more about this later about the upside, but and the last thing 2021 or 20 was that I felt like I lost was this is going to be on both sides of this. I lost connection with some people because the connection that we had was tied to us seeing each other at a certain place at a certain time, and without that, that some of that, I mean, there's a lot of people that I kept that connection with, but there were some people who, I realized, like, oh shit, if we didn't have that one thing, you don't give a fuck about me. Okay,
right,
that's good. Yeah. That's good. Here's the thing though. I ain't mad at them. I just, like, it was some people who I thought, I think I would hear from this person or talk to this person, and I'm not. So when shit goes back to groovy, I'm probably not gonna be as groovy with that motherfucker.
I think that's really cool and brilliant. I wouldn't even have thought of that, but that's pretty cool. And also, I did lose a relative this year, but every time I didn't get a chance to go to the funeral. So in my mind, it's not real yet. I watched it virtually.
Yeah.
But until I go by there and she ain't there, then I'll be like, damn, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah. But right now I don't have to visually deal with it. So it makes it a lot easier. But I think that thing about losing connections, I think that's brilliant. I just don't I don't really care. I'm saying the way I don't mean I don't care about your not care. I'm saying like the way it affects you, the way you feel it. I don't really feel it the same. I'm like, because most of the people that I know transactionally. Right. So I don't really
need something from you, or you're trying to deal with them, right?
Right. And if you look at my Cash App, most of the shit, if I ain't buying weed, I'm giving other people money. You know what I'm saying? Most of those transactions.
I think that's everybody. When I look at those apps, any one of those apps that have any kind of social media thing to it with money involved, I'll be looking through that shit like, that's weed. That's weed. That's weed. That's cocaine.
Yeah, you didn't cash out somebody for coffee, motherfucker. We know what you talk about.
Yeah.
If it just says coffee and not Starbucks, that's cocaine. Okay. If it says Starbucks, it's Starbucks. You bought somebody a Starbucks. But if it just says coffee,
if it says coffee and it's $200, that's cocaine. Did nobody buy $200 worth of coffee, y'all?
Oh God. Yes, that Peruvian coffee.
Right. Yeah. Fish scale. I would say for me, I think one of the downsides was obviously like the reality or the clear lens that came out of the pandemic. The reality of some people really revealing exactly who they were was a downside in that it wasn't better than I was hoping it would be, right? Like, so people reveal they were actually worse than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
Some people reveal they were dumber than I thought they would want to be. Like, and not just that some people were dumber, like a larger amount than should be okay, right? Like, I've listened to less Joe Rogan than I used to, but I remember Joe Rogan having a bit about how like that's why the pyramids became a mystery, because the dumb people just outfucked the smart ones, right? And at some point, all the guys who were designing all the new shit just died off, and all that was, someday some dumb motherfucker just showed up like, hello, and didn't know what to do, and that was it for the pyramids, right? Like, that's how I feel. That's what I feel was laid kind of bare here, was like, our society as a whole, as a population, is not very bright, and we made sure we let everybody know that, specifically in this country, is not very bright. And like, I may fall into that not very bright part, but I can at least recognize that we are not very bright, or not as bright as we could be had we actually been focusing on some of the right things that we should be learning, right? So like, that part was a big downer for me.
I appreciate the humbleness of putting yourself in the possibly not very bright, but 74 million, almost 75 million motherfuckers literally put on display how stupid they are. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand some people just voted party. Some people probably didn't even, like, they weren't involved. They didn't look at the news every day. They don't know all the shit that's going on. They just voted for the Republican. I know that's that. But that's maybe 20 or 30, 40 million. Let's say I expected them to get about 45 million, 50 million votes. 74 million, more votes than anybody in the history of this motherfucker, other than the motherfucker that beat him. That put a whole lot of shit in perspective to me.
Yeah.
And that was disappointing. Like, the houses, there's very, very few near me, but there's a few houses near me that still have their fucking Trump Pence signs up. Like, I see that person the same way I see a cop that I know fuck with niggas. Like, that person is, if I see you out, I know not to fuck with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to remember these motherfuckers when they start coming to shows out here. There's a new comedy club that'll be opening up out here. And I remember, I'm storing these faces.
Right.
When these motherfuckers come up after the show and be like, hey, I'm be like, Trump Pence.
Nah, we know who the fuck you is. Yeah, so that was really tough for me, especially like considering that a large portion of the early part of the year was spent in denial about it. Like the vehement argument in denial and the vehement pushing of all these other bullshit ideas, while like people that we know were dying and know of were dying, and their own people were dying and getting sick, and like that part was like super difficult for me. I would say that, like, also the laying bare, or the smack in the face of where our racial situation stands in this country was a big deal this year for me. Like, I know there's a lot of white people who are racist. I know this country has a history that means that there's some inherent qualities amongst the people and all that stuff. I get all that. But like, I think the current number or the openness to just slide that way seems more perilous to me than it may have appeared to me in the past. And like the necessity for someone to like make sure they are showing that they're not down with that shit has become more important to me, right? Like I'm not, if you're fucking around with Proud Boys or 3%ers and that shit and you're trying to make any excuses for why it's not what it is, you're not getting it. Man. You know what I mean? Like that's it period. And so like that shit like was troublesome for me. And I'll be honest, like the other thing is like the difficulty of this year made it impossible to grieve the shit that I would have otherwise been able to grieve a lot easier. Like I've told a couple people like, and it sounds weird because I don't know the dude, but it was just inspiring to me. Like I'm still fucked up over Chad Boseman. Dude. Like I am fucked up, man. Like I have trouble. I can't really fuck with it even. I haven't watched that new movies in just because I'm struggling. And it's like, I didn't know, dude. I didn't know him at all. And like under a normal year with nothing else happening and enough other shit going on, probably would have flown right by. I'd been upset, but like there's something about that death in particular that was very, and like the other ones we've lost, like Casey Jones and John Lewis and all these guys, like Dick Allen. Like Dick Allen was one of my dad's favorite baseball players of all time, right? My dad grew up watching Dick Allen play on the South Side. And so like not being able to like fully just go through those losses like I normally would because I'm flooded with having to deal with like these pandemic deniers and people arguing about masks and like racial stupidity. It's just like that's what made this year tough for me, is that there wasn't even time to like catch my breath.
Kobe Bryant is set. Yeah, like, I literally, there was a NBA TV had like this, they were just doing the recaps of the games, and at the end of the games they did a in memoriam because it's, you know, end of the year and shit. And there's a picture that I think it was like a December 31st game that Kobe and Gigi went to. And that's like one of the last pictures that they had together because it's like 2 or 3 weeks away from when his shit crashed. And they showed that shit, and it hit me that it was a couple weeks away from when his shit crashed, and that shit started to fuck me. I was like, God damn. Like, but I think it's because in previous times we had an outlet. Like you could right. That shit, and you had an outlet. And there's no outlet because we can't do shit. And also, you talked earlier about like the racial divide in the country. I was so excited this summer because I was like, oh, these motherfuckers had to sit in the house and see this shit, and then they had to finally deal with it. And I thought that there would be carryover, and what it turns out is that was just an excuse to get out.
Some people did. I don't want to shit on people who had an awakening this year. If you had an awakening this year and you're like, you know what? Some of our people have been fucked up, and I have been fucked up, and I don't want to be fucked up. Like, listen, as a guy, I had to have that recognition when it came to women. I had to at some point go, yeah, our gender for sure has done some weird ass shit, and like,
and my part in it is as follows.
And my part, and I have also at times said things that are fucking dumb that I shouldn't have said, and like had attitudes that I shouldn't have had. Like, of course, absolutely.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact
as a young and ignorant person, not recognizing that, not having someone really, not have it really brought to my face in a way that was like, don't you get what the whole deal is? And there's something to be said for people to get that. But yeah, a bunch of people just dug in deeper, right?
Yeah. You know, here's something that I can't imagine anything unless it was something that I thought was so personal. And I guess some people take this shit as so personal. But when somebody comes to you and says, what you're doing is hurting me, it's a real cold motherfucker to be like, well, that's just what I want to do. You know, like that's just
still be considered and still be considered a human being.
Right? But the fucked up the thing that's crazy about that is they make that statement and then think that there shouldn't be consequences from that. And it's like, no, you are inflicting consequences on somebody by you continuing to do the shit that they said was hurtful to them. So you're gonna suffer consequences of us not fucking with you.
Yeah. Hey Rob, what were some of your highs from the year, man? What's a couple things that went well for you this year that you saw in the world that worked that were good?
I got a kidney this year.
My man got a kidney.
Yes. And through doing that, it just made my energy levels have changed.
Brother, I remember you having to roll around with shit strapped to you all the time and shit like that. Like I remember when you were going through that shit.
Up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, getting dialysis and shit.
Yeah, man, I had to be there at fucking 4 a.m.
4 a.m. That's what I knew.
Because I wanted to get it in, get early, and I had gotten myself to where I was pretty physical, right after I got on dialysis. In 4 years, I was doing pretty well. But what actually happened is I started having heart issues, and they didn't know what started them, right? And so what I started seeing was, well, shit, let me start eliminating, because ultimately every health issue that I have has to do with my diet, right? And so I weigh 320 pounds. You ain't supposed to weigh that and be 5'10". You know what I'm saying? And so over all that time, I've damaged myself so badly that now regular shit is way like because I don't eat meat anymore, the shit that used to ache on me doesn't ache like it used to. So I almost feel younger than I did when I was young because I was fucking up so bad.
It's the right time to feel young is when you're old. That's the
I'm saying, like,
yeah. You like, I mean, on the timing scene,
right on time, Benjamin Button. You doing
you hit that. You hit that.
Man, I mean, when I see the sunshine, I'm ready to get up. Now, it was a time when I was eating 4 pieces of chicken in the midnight hour and shit and a bunch of French fries with mild sauce. The sun would hit me in the face. I'd be like, son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Now I wake up with a bright little smile on my face, like, well, let's go do some shit. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
XL went right for you this year, man. What was
you know what? One of the things that went right for me this year is this show. We have been very sporadic with this show prior to the pandemic. We do a show for 3 weeks in a row, then we have to take off because one of us was on the road or some other shit or whatever reason we wouldn't do a show for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and then we do a couple more, and consistently doing it every week, I think has made a better show. And has made we got a little bit of a following. We need to get some subscriptions up. So subscribe if you're feeling this.
Right.
And yeah, it was this show. And also there was a point during the pandemic that this was the only way that I could tell what day of the week it was. This show was like, I know what Friday is. I got to get ready for the show. So we got a show on Friday. I got to fucking trim my beard or cut my dreads a little bit or something. You know? But that, like, literally, that was the only thing that I had going on for the whole week, because I was kicking it with my son every day. But like, I didn't need to know the day of the week for that. I didn't need. There was no place I was going. You know, sun up, sundown, sun up, sundown. Bing! It's Friday. We got a show. You know.
Yeah. This pandemic has really made people have to figure out whether they're actually depressed or not. You know what I mean? Like this has really been a thing where you're like, well, what is this? Is this just general sadness over not being able to do a thing, or has this been here even before this thing happened? It's been around for a minute? Yeah, for me this year, you know, the pandemic has really allowed me to kind of learn some shit I didn't know before. Not just about that, but like, you know, when it comes to like editing and cutting shit up, like those were, even though I'm sure I'm compared to people who have real talent, it's very amateurish, but like for me, even just to be able to go, okay, I want to find a minute clip where I can make it look smooth and somewhat consistent, and to know that I can do that now in a reasonable amount of time has been a nice skill to have the time to learn, because I'm not driving 40,000 miles a year. That's definitely been decent. I started a business, which is fun. That's been a good thing to have done. And also I got engaged this year, and that, like, while the same within a day or two of Rob getting his kidney, I got engaged. And you know, that has been a tough thing about the pandemic, is that, you know, we're still polyamorous people. So like, dating's been out, the fun clubs have been out, the opportunities have been gone. Like, it's been gone. This has been a very monogamous year It's been a pretty monogamous year for people who are polyamorous, but
which is cool that y'all actually love each other anyway.
Yeah, like just
right,
so people
that's what I'm saying. That's what the pandemic can do. Like you find out how good your relationship is.
If you're trying to figure out about the mysteries of relationship orientation, it really is like whatever y'all decide it's going to be. You can call it whatever you want to, but it's whatever you decide it's going to be, because there are things that will force you to have to figure out how to do it a different way. You know what I mean? So it's been wild. We're going to talk about what we feel about 2021 a little bit later on in the show, but I want to talk about some of the last few minutes of the year. We've got a new year. We still have. A lot of people thought COVID was going to go away, but it's still here. It's not only here, they got a new one. They got new COVID
earlier. Yeah. Those were the dumb folks we were talking about a little earlier.
They got new and improved COVID.
Yeah, new like COVID too. Went and worked out and shit. Get some rocky shit in Siberian winter and for it's just out there ready to fuck some shit up.
Yeah, it's COVID with a U, COVID, because it's the UK version. It's the
COVID.
Maybe there's an E on the end. Maybe there's an E on the end because it's a UK strand of COVID that we have here now. So we got a UK strand. They're starting to vaccinate some people. Or at least CNN is saying people are vaccinated, even though they're not actually vaccinated yet because they've only got one shot.
I know.
What's with that, man? You know that's not vaccinated, right? That's not.
Right. Did you hear about that shit the UK is doing?
Stretching out the doses?
That's crazy as hell. Now, they gonna gave you the fucking instruction manual. And you gonna tell the motherfucker who built the shit, nah, we ain't gonna do it that way. Man, these motherfuckers is dumb as hell, man. Why are we led by such stupid people? That's just crazy.
Okay, so I always joke around and shit on the idea of Illuminati or some like ultra rich people in charge. This shit's starting to feel like it is some ultra rich motherfuckers in charge because there's some real common sense shit that should just make sense to do. And it's not getting done. And it sounds like somebody somewhere is like, we don't want to pay for that. We're not going to do that. Because like this shit like that, why the fuck would you? This shit is the worst disease that we've had in modern times internationally. And you go fuck with the instructions? You gonna fuck with the instructions on the shit that's going to prevent it? Why would you? Like even if they like we're 100% sure this is gonna work. Nah, nigga, like you already fucking easy baked oven this motherfucking virus, vaccine. I mean, quick as fuck. Now you gonna fucking remix it?
Right. You already got people worried about taking it, and now you're gonna be like, and we'll give you even a weird amount of it that you're not supposed to get now.
Nigga, I'm trying to figure out how I can get the Pfizer and the Moderna. I'm getting both them motherfuckers. Give me one in each arm, nigga. I'm a big nigga. Both of that shit just to cover all the space.
Hey man, there's only one reason you would do that, and X exactly alluded to what it is. The only reason, not just that you don't want to pay for it, but you want these motherfuckers back out in the street to get your goddamn money. So I'm gonna spread this shit as thin as I can spread it to get you out the house to get this money.
They need the most people back out as quickly as possible because at the rate they're doing, at least in the United States, the rates they're doing vaccinations, it would take something like 10 years to vaccinate everybody.
Well, they're doing that in the UK though. That's
I know.
Like, y'all supposed to like each other. Y'all fucking over each other like this.
You think that would be, they would shorten it up, not spread it out. Like just be like, here, nigga, 2 shots. Bow, bow. Like, it say 2 shots. Why the fuck you gotta wait a month? Just take these 2 shots. Bow, bow, nigga. Go back to work.
Let me add one more variable to what's actually happening. Somebody done told these white folks, and I'm saying it's only white folks who run shit.
Right.
So somebody had told, and it's probably the 7-8 family, just like the Illuminati been telling us all the time. It's 7-8 motherfuckers run every goddamn thing because that's what a pyramid does, and that's what capitalism creates. But anyway, what they figured out was they was like, wait a minute, so you get 50% efficacy if you give the first shot. And the normal flu about 40%. Send them outside. Shit.
Yeah, definitely some dude in a room who's way too good at counting numbers sat down and figured out how they could like
Yeah,
what's the least amount we can give to anybody and not get a lawsuit? The dude who opened up Fight Club, Norton, at the beginning of Fight Club, that job he's got. When
actuary.
The actuary, where his whole job is determine risk. They just like, what's the least amount we could do to give the most to the most people and create the least like seven-legged motherfuckers running around here.
It's a motherfucking Billy Bean ass number counting motherfuckers.
Oh my god.
They out there small balling the numbers and shit. What if we were doing it with Gary, Indiana's budget? How can we? Because that's really what matters.
Yeah, what if we were the Kansas City Royals? How would we make it work then?
My god.
In the meantime, even though this virus is now, so we hit what do we hit today? We hit 300,000. We had 20 million cases for sure.
Oh, so no, dude, we had like 350,000, dog.
So it took 292 days, I think, to get to 10 million cases, and we got to 20 million cases in 50 days.
Yeah.
So we had another 10 million cases in like, a sixth of the time it took to get to the first 10 million. So, the dumb thing is like I was looking on, Instagram stories and Facebook shit last night, and I'm seeing people who jumped on airplanes and flew down to like Mexico and Puerto Rico and all these places where for some reason in Florida, these places where they think COVID doesn't exist or like they want to bring it. I don't know what they're like. Like, are you the emissary of COVID to fucking Tulum?
Here's the craziest shit about it. People are so programmed because this is the time of year where we normally supposed to do some shit. They feel the need to do some shit. There's a fucking pandemic. Say that you bumped into some nigga that had COVID and you need to quarantine and then go to Mexico after you got the fucking vaccine. Like, why you have to do it now? Like, I don't fucking get it.
It's the now part of it that drives me crazy, right? Like, it's like
motherfuckers is locked in their cribs anyway. Like, why now?
It's one of those things where it's just like the bigger problem for me is like it's one thing if you're somebody who doesn't believe in COVID or whatever or don't like masks, you just an asshole anyway. I'm not, but it's the people who outside of that are normally like pro stay at home, pro don't go anywhere, pro all this other bullshit. And then you see them on a plane or you see them out somewhere who normally like that's the part where it's like if you don't think you're putting a stress on somebody just because you tested negative 2 days before you flew, you still drive it like you going down to this place where who knows what symptom you might pick up or bring home.
Ride over there with a motherfucker that you don't know they status.
Dude, I saw this club last night in fucking I think it was Puerto Vallarta or somewhere. It was in normal circumstances, it would have been a party I would have loved to have been at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it looked like there were a few thousand people in this room. No masks, no nothing. Like
you guys have created a pot of gumbo that is COVID in that building. Now,
it's crazy.
And you're giving the shit to everybody. So here's my thing. If it would have just been them that just died there, like if it would have been them that just, because I want to get as many dumb people as we can get rid of so we can all go out and play with our kids in our yards. You know what I'm saying? But these dumb motherfuckers is going to take that shit back to their grandmother. They're going to take this shit back to their uncle or somebody who is a pillar of their family. And that person is going to get sick and possibly die. So you could rub this girl's ass while listening to Megan Thee Stallion. This shit is just incredibly stupid to me.
I would tell you what, if you're in college right now, you're not sure what to do as a major, there's a lot of motherfuckers that's gonna need therapy in the next few years because they know their grandparents because they went to spring break or some dumb shit. Like they're going to realize that they're the reason why 6 people in their family aren't here anymore, or that even if they don't die now, they die from some complications or some shit later. Because there's a lot of people who I have some friends. There's a couple people. I'm not going to say their names. I'm not putting their business out there, but I know there's some people in the comedy community that I know that got the shit and they're not okay. Like they didn't die. they're out of the hospital and shit like that, but they have some lingering. The long haulers, I believe, is what it's called. And some of the people I'm thinking about weren't even people doing dumb shit. Somebody else was doing dumb shit that they came in contact with.
That's the thing, is like one of the things that I think is a lesson that you can teach young people is the thing that you think you can just shuffle out of your head now will come back to you some point later in your life. That little thing you think that you're just kind of doing, even though you know you're doing it and it's super wrong, but like nobody's going to know, or like it'll be forgotten. You know, you give COVID to 5 people in your family and 2 of them die, and like they never really connected to you, but you know you probably contributed to that. That's some shit that you're going to have to deal with sometime later.
Yeah,
in your mind or in your world, and it will cause you to either fail that relationship closeness later, or it will cause you to fail professionally later, or it'll create an addiction for you that you'll rely on at some point. And those are all things that you can avoid just by being smarter today. It's really that easy, you know.
Dude, here's the crazy shit. Because our medical system is so fucking flawed and has so many holes in it, you don't even know if you the motherfucker that gave your grandma that shit. You don't know. You don't know because you probably didn't get tested right like you were supposed to, and that's not 100% on you, except for if you was out doing dumb shit, and so you never have closure on that shit. Yeah. And I'm not trying to wish that on nobody. It's just what it is. Like, you made the bed that you lying in. You know, I had like a couple small things that I was doing, relationship wise and stuff, with people who were going through like insane protocols, or one person who just didn't leave the house. Like, they literally worked from home, got everything shipped into the crib, never left the crib. I was very comfortable hanging out with that person. But outside of that, anything that was more than something like one other person, get the fuck out of here. No, I don't want to be part of that.
Man, every time I go out to get provisions, because now I can move a lot better, when I get up to go out, I'm thinking, do I really need this shit, or can I wait a couple of days? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in LA and people here are way more responsible than other people are. However, we still got an amazing amount of cases. Yeah. And that is because the way people have to live out here. Everybody want to be here, and it's all type of apartments and dwelling. Hell, I live in an apartment, and it's all type of people around me, and not everybody is going to be like the younger people still going to protest and talking about.
It's still sunny outside. Motherfuckers gonna go be outside. That's
LA is a hard motherfucking place to stay inside for fucking a year.
Oh my God. Don't nobody know how much I know Black Lives Matter. I get it.
Right.
But if you're gonna be out there with all these motherfuckers, you're gonna either have to figure out a better situation than I'm just gonna yell and let my nose flop out like they titties and shit. You know, you can't keep doing all that. And
Hey, have you done that with anybody? Like, you having a conversation and then they mask does like one of these things, and you kind of like, hey nigga.
Hey nigga, I see your face, dick.
Yeah, you might want to zip that up, man. You might want to, you put your head on, you might want to zip that up, dog. You might want to, I don't know, you want to zip that up. We got a new year, but we don't got a new stimmy yet, man. New year, no new stimmy. Mitch McConnell.
Shimmy.
Yeah, man, it was, 600 was supposed to be 2,000. Now they talking about they got to start getting some of the 600 out. The Senate, I think the Senate just voted to veto the president's and override the president's veto on the defense spending bill. So see, that's the bullshit. They figured out how to get around getting the defense budget done, right? They got the defense budget done, but getting people $2,000 of their own money, by the way. This is the thing I think people lose when they're talking about this money that we're all talking, like how much money we should get or how much money it's all fucking money.
Yeah.
It's not, this isn't the government.
We ain't taking money from nobody.
The government didn't start a business somewhere that they've been running, right? It's not like Government Inc. has been the one selling you shoes and ovens and shit.
Uncle Sam.
Now you're broke. You're like, hey, government, could we have some money? Now, like, well, I guess we'll give you some money. How much? You're not talking to your dad. You know what I'm saying? This is your shoebox, motherfucker. This is, if you're a citizen and you pay some kind of taxes, or you live here and they allow you to live here and you spent money, and I don't mean just pay taxes on your check or pay taxes. If you bought a Snickers bar and that motherfucker had whatever tax to it, they got some of your money. state, federal, municipality, all that, anything that you pay where there's got some tax attached, that is some of you giving up your money for somebody, for them to hold it.
That's why you know they're gonna legalize weed.
And when they get that money, the people that you elect to put in office, their job is to make decisions on how to spend it based on what the people decide they want. And if the people are saying, hey man, give us $2,000, motherfuckers, and y'all are like, 600 might be too much, you can go fuck yourself, okay? That's just a reality of how that system, like when you clear all the noise out, that is a system that's going on. We've agreed that we will give you so much extra of the money we have for y'all to hold on to until we say we need that motherfucker back.
Yeah.
Right.
And
well,
right now we're telling you.
I'm gonna tell you what the core of it is. Motherfuckers will talk about. They'll bring up, well, you know, the deficit. These motherfuckers ain't mentioned the deficit once in 4 years. They barely was mentioning the shit when Obama was president, but they ain't mentioned the motherfucking deficit once in 4 years. And these niggas did a huge tax cut in 2017 that fucking raised that, like, we fucking deficit spending now because of it. So, like, if you're really worried about the deficit, let's just start there. Let's just, okay, you're 100% on board when we go get rid of this fucking tax cut when Joe gets in office then, right? They're going to all of a sudden find a reason to not, they're going to somehow not support getting rid of the tax cut, but also say they worried about the deficit. That's how full of shit and hypocritical these assholes are. And the thing that's fucked up about it is that deficit shit, I have figured out. I have a degree in finance, and I was very fucking good at that shit. I was a nigga that got recruited out of school to go places. I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I say this. The deficit was $20 trillion less than it is now when I graduated college 21 years ago. $20 trillion with a TR. $1 trillion less than it is now. It ain't a goddamn thing in America changed. In fact, it's better. So if you telling me another 20 trillion is what we got to do to make this motherfucker right, sign me up for that shit. Let's get this shit going right now. Because
here's an idea. We could make like 3 or 4 less F-35s.
Also, here's the thing that they don't tell you about. A lot of that money, one of the biggest chunks of that money is retirement money for people. It's different fucking like your old 401ks, which a lot don't exist anymore because they keep fucking figuring out ways to get rid of those shit. But pension plans, 401ks and stuff like that, those motherfuckers wouldn't be as important. People wouldn't need to save as much if we had some social safety nets that the $1 trillion that we added on would supply. Old people wouldn't have to worry about how the fuck they're going to survive when they don't work a regular job anymore if we had free health care and they didn't have to take part of the Social Security to pay for health care. Like there's little shit like that we could do that's very easy.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be the rude old nigga, but everything you're saying makes all the sense in the world, and it is beautiful and it is factual. But that is if you believe that the system is what it is. It is not that. And it's never been that, and it will never be that.
I agree. I agree, and here's why I agree. People will shake their heads. Somebody listening to this will think I'm just trying to tie some shit to some shit because of whatever. But the core of this shit, in truth and honesty, is racism. It's racism. There are studies that say white people will be okay with social programs. If you bring up a social program, they do the fucking study, people are like, yeah, it should get like 70, 75%. As soon as they start showing black people will benefit more than white people or as much as white people, like if it's the same benefit or black people might benefit a little bit more, like defunding student loan, not defunding, excuse me, getting rid of student loans. Black people will benefit more from that because we have a higher debt threshold, a higher debt ratio than most white people on average, the per capita or whatever on average. So there will be a bigger benefit by wiping out that debt. Because of that, motherfuckers are mad against it. Motherfuckers with school debt or people who pay school debt and know how hard it fucking was. They're against it. because of fucking racism, because they don't want black people to have the same shit.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to show that is the countries where they point out where socialism always works, so they point out as shining examples, are all countries that are like pretty much very white, right? Like,
yeah.
Look at Norway, look at Denmark, it works there, and it's like, well, yeah, it works there. If you shipped all us niggas over to Sweden, they would get rid of socialism tomorrow. Yeah. That shit would go away. They're like, no, we can't have that here. No meatballs for the niggas. This is also creating a situation.
IKEA should have started coming put together already.
I think before we have our next show, there's going to be a couple big things regarding a vote going on in Georgia right now and a certification of an election or whatever the fuck is supposed to happen on the 6th. There's some guys who are saying they're going to vote no or object to the shit that's going on, even though it won't matter. These are just dudes who are trying to run in 2024, right? Is that essentially what it is? It's just guys trying to pick up Trump's base. Is that what the?
Yeah, and the thing is, none of them will be able to really get it, because this dude was masterful at one thing, and that is being Archie Bunker in the flesh and available to way more white folks than he would have been available to in other ways. So if you can create. Okay, and this is what's so beautiful about the insanity of the system is that most of the shit he was saying was true. Like, yeah, you getting fucked. Yeah, but what they wasn't paying attention to is that he was the one fucking them.
Right.
They would rather get fucked by him and let one more of you motherfuckers die. And I mean, every square on here, I'm saying, like, they got other white people they want to die. If you hang around with niggas too much, then fuck you. You can die with them motherfuckers. And I'm saying to you that they are willing to go to their death. They said it. You got to look at what these people say to you. When that one representative said, I would rather have my liberty than to not be able to go to the mall, I've lived a long life. Right. Now, what is he telling you? He telling you, motherfucker, I'm ready to die for racism. I would prefer not to. This is what we got to do.
I would rather not die for racism, but I will die for racism if that is what is required. For you to understand what I'm talking about.
I would die trying to end this motherfucker. trying to end this shit. Like, here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. I actually don't give a fuck about racism. I don't give a fuck about people who don't like me, because here's a little secret to anybody out here who, don't like my black talk or don't like my black ass. You're not anybody I'm gonna fuck with anyway. Like, I've never seen niggas at a Klan rally and thought, man, those would be people I would fuck with if they
if they could just be my friends.
They all look like niggas like they corny motherfuckers I wouldn't fuck with no way. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to think of a cool way.
I mean,
Ryan Reynolds ain't
wrong, but
Ryan Reynolds is a white boy I'd hang out with. He ain't going to the Klan rallies. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Reynolds, don't fuck around and prove me wrong, man.
Show up in some blackface somewhere, you gotta fucking renounce Ryan Reynolds and shit. Speaking of renouncing some shit, I do want to talk about this new year, new origin story. Hilaria Baldwin is Alec Baldwin's wife. She got famous because she somehow came into owning some yoga studios in New York, and that's how she met Alec Baldwin. Because after Alec Baldwin called his daughter a fat pig on a recorded voicemail, he was trying to get some zen in his life, so he started doing yoga. But he started going to the studio. He met this chick. He's already had like 4 kids or something when he met her. They've had like 2 or 3 kids since. So
hey, Alec be fucking.
Let me tell you something. This is definitely one thing too, though, is like, one of the things I see about the left and the right is like, I will happily call out Alec Baldwin or somebody who wants to get on a plane in the middle of a pandemic, or anybody who normally has views that I agree with, for doing dumb shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And Republicans don't want to do that shit ever. But anyway, but that's the truth. But Hilaria Baldwin has she's originally from Boston, but for the longest time, there had been a lot of people who believed she was from Spain. She occasionally speaks with a Spanish accent. She's had some instances of forgetting words like cucumber in English interviews.
How you say English cucumber?
Yeah, she's come off as extremely Spanish. Now, to her credit, or to her where she's coming from, she spent a lot of time as a kid in Spain. She says she grew up a lot in Spain. And so like she had to come out and I guess clarify because somebody called her out on Twitter saying that she's been doing this for like a decade, this fake Spanish shit. So she came out and clarified that she was from Boston, that she's a white girl from Boston. She wasn't trying to say she was Spanish, but like she's got a mixed history of culture. So like, you know, it made me think a little bit because so much of culture is like how you spent your time as a kid. You know what I mean? Like we put a lot, like if you're born in Boston, but from the ages of 3 to 12, you spend 75% of your life in Spain. I mean, are you culturally a white kid? I mean, you know, ethnically you're a white kid from Boston, but
I don't disagree with you, but motherfucker, you know how to say cucumber.
Yeah, but also, but the other thing too, though, is like for one, there are times where people get like nervous on stage and forget things, and two, if you go back and forth between languages a lot, sometimes you get stumbled up on shit. I don't, you know.
Okay.
So the question is this. Obviously, the question in the end is: did she play up the idea that she was from Spain and never deny it?
I think
or did she? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if someone goes, "Hey, where are you from?" and she said Spain, that's bullshit, right? Like,
like if she said, "I grew up in Spain," that
maybe you know what I mean.
You know,
like,
I give her a pass on that. I thought when I was reading about this. It took like two or three articles before I got to the how do you say cucumber shit, because I was like skimming through them and I was like, yeah, this seems like much ado about nothing. And then when I saw the how you say cucumber shit, I was like, oh, I'm off the team. Hilaria. Like the bitch's name is Helen or some shit like that.
No, it's Hillary. Her name is Hillary.
Hillary. That's
and
what
in Spain, it's Hilaria. That's Hillary in Spanish.
But we not in Spain, and she ain't from Spain, so a bitch's name is Hillary. Like you don't just get to change your name, change your motherfucking name. My name is Xavier in Spain, motherfucker. I don't like this. Ain't Xavier comedy. This is fucking Xavier, mother. Like, come on, man.
I mean, if you grew up in Spain, you might go by Xavier. I don't know what the fuck you be doing, man. I don't.
Like. Here's the thing. Spanish bitches, if you want to call me Xavier, by all means.
By the way, if you're from Spain, you're still just white. I'm just trying to tell you right now, Spain, like in Europe, Spain. That's just because you speak Spanish, you're not. It's not like you're not from Mexico, motherfucker. That's you white, nigga. You.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care about any of this. The most entertaining thing about this all is when that nigga just went from being fighting the power and shit and blackness and like, hold on, Spanish bitches. That was amazing to me.
I want to talk about a couple more things before we get out of here. We got a new year. It's a new you. What are you guys excited about for 2021? Rob, what are you seeing this year is like, you know, obviously it's January 1st, so COVID is gone now. Obviously COVID is gone and racism is over. What are your thoughts on 2020? What do you think's coming, man? What do you think is going to be?
I think it's going to be an amazing year. Particularly because my wife and my daughter, who have been estranged for a little while, are getting along and shit. So I'm gonna get way more time with my grandkids, and I'm about to make I'm gonna try to make a boatload of money, and I'm gonna try to make sure that I pull as many other people in the void of where I once was who are hanging on with me. And I'm not saying that I'm the only one pushing forward. What I'm saying is anything I have, I'm trying to share with more people around me because I don't want to be the only one who has to pay for lunch.
That's smart. That's a
smooth
OG
move.
Shit.
See,
that's about OG shit. That's why he's on the show.
That's why we added Rob to the show because we need someone who's got some.
That's some real OG shit right there.
A brilliant OG. XL, man, what are you looking at in the new year, man? What are you hoping for? What are you
There's
seeing?
A lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. Working on a project with some good people. Also, my son has gotten really serious about his basketball. And I just got him a bunch of training stuff. I got him a heavy ball, some stuff that we could do some drills so that he could work on skill sets. And I also got him a dribbling tutorial. So, you know, he has more perimeter skills than I had at an earlier age. I didn't develop perimeter skills until I was damn near in college. Actually, I was in college.
That's beautiful, man. Because I know he didn't want no parts of that shit at first.
Yeah. So he was actively against it forever, and now like
dribbling is the thing you gotta be able to shoot, obviously. But if you're a big man and you can dribble, it's like being a left-handed catcher. You know, a left-handed hitting catcher.
At his size, if he develops a decent handle, like motherfuckers will figure out how to teach him how to shoot if his shot is off. But if he already, because like a handle is something you can't, like motherfuckers can't dribble it, they don't. You know,
how tall is he?
Right.
How tall is he now?
About 6'5" now.
At 16. 16-year-old, 6'5".
That's not the shit. He's 6'5", but he's about 255, somewhere around in there. And I was about the similar. I think I was like 6'4" at his age, but
the Shaq of the Mac.
Similar dimensions. And I have so much of an appreciation of why people used to look at me the way they looked at me, because sometimes that motherfucker walked past my room and the shadow makes me nervous. Like what the fuck was that just walked by? Like what the fuck was that huge? Like
I'm up, daddy.
Yeah, that shit. I started to tell that nigga to start calling me father, but you sound like Darth Vader. I was like,
I am here for you, father. James, man, what are you you excited about this next year, man? What do you think is what's some host expectations for you for the new year, baby?
I mean, just growth. Just growth. You know, there's this whole new, like, everything's closed, so we gotta adapt and make it all digital. And you know, again, shout out Zanies. I think last night we proved that's more than possible. So definitely specking into that a little more, helping people kind of find their voice and their way in this new medium that we all have to figure out together, and you know, bring Chicago to the forefront of this new frontier. I think that's more than possible, and I think it's necessary, and I'm excited to be part of the team leading the charge in that. So
yeah, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Manny's loves shout outs.
Yeah.
Thank you. There it is.
There it is. The first of the
wait
year.
for it.
Yeah. And in general and very stupidly commercial, hypocritical way, I am actually excited about Marvel this year. I had to wait a whole year for some new Marvel content. And like in 2 weeks, WandaVision comes out and it starts this avalanche of stuff that's going to be amazing. I've heard hints that like Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to bring in the X-Men. Is going to allude to the entrance of Wolverine. There's just going to be a bunch of good shit on that end. So from an entertainment standpoint, I'm excited about the year in general, but very specifically, I am excited about what's happening. And like these guys have talked about, you know, pressure. As the old sayings go, either bust pipes or makes diamonds, right? And so, like, I like that this is creating new mediums for people and new opportunities. I've seen, you know, front-facing camera comedy become a thing with people like Meg Stalter. I've seen TikTok become a thing, and I think it's all great. I think it's all. Listen, man, if you find somebody that wants to watch your shit and is willing to pay attention to you and put some time into you and maybe send a couple bucks your way for it, I mean, go get your shit. We're all out here trying to do our thing. And I'm excited for that being something that continues on for everybody in the new year, which is pretty cool. So don't, you know, if there's anything for me to take it out of last year is like, it's time to be unapologetically yourself. And some people are going to hate you for that. But like, it's better that they know that they don't like you. Like, they can hate you for it, but they're still going to love the shit you put out. Think of all the people who have done things that are fucked up or said things that somebody didn't like, and people still listen to them. I'll never forget that about Howard Stern when they were reading reports of people who would watch his show. And they said the people that didn't like him listened to him for longer than the people who did, because they hated him so much they wanted to hear what he had to say next. And so, you know, I'm not telling people to be horrible, but be you. But be you. You know what I mean? Yeah. If some people goes, I don't like how you say that, or I don't like who you are. Like, if it's shitty, try and improve it. But also, like, you should be who you are. And
if it's your truth.
Well, you'll find out. Like, if nobody is fucking with you, then maybe you need to take a look inside. But if you got a good amount of, a good amount of people that are like, I really like your thoughts on this, and some people are like, I don't like it. Well, you know what? The problem may be, that you just don't jive thought wise. But be who you are and let people find that, and don't be afraid to bear who you are, and don't be afraid to let somebody unburden on you a little bit and accept that and be like, hey man, we all fuck up too. You know what I mean? And try and be better. So it's been a great show. Where can people find you online, Rob?
Oh shit! Here we go with this shit again.
You need to write this down so you got it ready.
At Original Jones BBQ on TikTok. Robert _L_ Hines on Twitter. And
I'm gonna even help you. That's on Instagram. Robert L. Hines 1 on Twitter, right?
Right.
Robert _L_ Hines on Instagram.
On Instagram, right.
And Robert L. Hines 1 on Twitter.
All right. What we're gonna do by next week, we're gonna set it up.
We're gonna get all this shit lined up. Yeah, we're gonna.
It's all gonna be one thing.
New year, new you, bro.
That's right.
You're right. I'm
XL, where can people find you, baby?
Boom. XL
right, I like
Comedy, right there at XL Comedy. All the fucking platforms. That's me. I'm the only one. Holla at me.
Right. You can catch me at Mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram. You can catch the show at New OGs Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Find People of Comedy at People of Comedy Network on Instagram and at People of Comedy on Twitter. If you go over to Tim_RIEL on Twitch.tv after this at 5:30, you will catch XL and I in the finals of the Codenames Live tournament. So come kick it with us then. We have been super high the whole time and somehow won, but catch us next week. We're back for another fun one. Thank you guys so much for kicking on this New Year's. He saved the tea. That's what's up. That's what's up. Thanks, y'all.
For the game show. After we win the game show, I'm chugging that shit.
We out.
They can try to steal the moves, but they ain't us. Thank you, gang, but nigga, you a stranger. Bitches wanna fuck, but nigga, you can't blame us. You can't. Bitch, you better play your role.